Second Chronicles 18 and 19. And the Most High said, this is a council in the fourth dimension where the Most High and the angels dwell. Angels on the right hand, righteousness, angels on the left hand, dealing with those that's going to do evil, that draw evil to them. Second Chronicles 18 and 19. And the Most High said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall, die at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake out, saying after this matter, one came up and spoke to him, I'll go down there and I'll do this. And another saying after that matter, I'll go down there, I'll do this. Verse 20, then there came out a spirit and stood before the Most High and said, I will entice him. This is an angel or spirit, because he makes his angel spirits, either or, same entity. Then there came out a spirit and stood before the Most High and said, I will entice him. And the Most High said unto him, wherewith? How you going to do it? Listen. And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. So what's going to come out of all of Ahab, the king of Israel, prophets' mouth is going to be lies. So this spirit said, I'm going to go down and I'm going to bring forth lies that come out of the mouth of his prophets that he believed in. And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Most High said, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. Right? So he told him, you're going to entice them and you're going to prevail. They're going to do exactly what you're saying. They're going to go down there and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all Ahab, the king of Israel's prophets. Now therefore, behold, the Most High have put a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets. And the Most High have spoken evil against thee. Because he was evil. He wasn't a righteous king. He was evil, so therefore the Most High spoke evil against him. And he put a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets, so he told him a lie, so he can go up and die at Ramoth Gilead. That's why you gotta be trying to be righteous, and that's keeping the laws of the Most High the best you can. So you don't have to deal with you as such. This is who we serve. Look, Isaiah 45 and 7. Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. That's what we just read about. Create evil. I, the Most High, do all these things. So whenever we do things that's, you want to do things that's off, Most High gonna bring that. You're gonna bring that evil to you. You're gonna bring it to you. So he created it. We just seen how he did it. So now you know. How it happens. That's why you better stay in a righteous posture the best you can. Not get caught up in this wicked world and let it guide you into hell. But you're going to regret it. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. I mean, that's something. Second Chronicles 20 and 23. Most I say he's setting ambushes up. Well, Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, which represents Edom, or the so-called Caucasian. That's the Japanese, Chinese, and the so-called Caucasian people. Indigenous, though. Verse 23, for the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, when they killed all their men, everyone helped to destroy another. And when Judah came toward the tower in the wilderness, they looked unto the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies falling to the earth, and none escaped. I mean, he got them all. And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil. It was so much. Most I had them come there with, because went to war, put on their best attire, put on their best, and they went to war. It wasn't looking like no shabbies like they do here. Just like you went to war, shit. When you won the war, you got the spoil. Like I say, 3 days of taking everything that they had. That's a lot. 3 days, man. Wow. That's how it was. You girded up. Look your best when you went out there to war. Look your best. Look at 1 Maccabees 14 and 9. The ancient men sat all in the streets, communing together of good things, and the young men put on glorious and warlike apparel. See, glorious and warlike apparel. That's how we roll. That's why we was able to get the spoil 3 days from there. You think we wasn't happy? Better believe it. 3 days of gathering all the spoils from all these men, of these dead bodies that we went through, and just got everything that they had. With the war, you look tight, sharp. You look all. Everybody else saying you got jewels on. You come back, that's why it tell you about just want to get my raggedy Bible that doesn't find it. Look at 1 Ezra 4 and Second Ezra 4 is pertaining to the woman. It says Second Ezra, First Ezra, so like First Ezra 4 and 22. It says, by this also ye must know that women have dominion over you. Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman? Yeah, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal and to sail upon the sea and upon rivers, and looked upon a lion and goeth in the darkness, and when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love. That's his woman. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. Many also are perished, having erred and sinned for women. And now do ye not Believe me, is not the king great in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Yet did I see him in the side of the king's concubine, the daughter of the admiral Bardicus, sitting at the right hand of the king, and taking the crown from the king's head and setting it upon her own head. She also struck the king with her left hand. Boom! And yet for all this, the kings gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth, looked at her, thinking, is she mad at me? Is she mad with me? If she laughed upon him, he laughed. He laughed also. But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter, that she might be reconciled to him again. O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong, seeing they do this? Then the king and the princes looked one upon another, so began to speak of the truth. They spoke of the truth. Ain't nothing greater than the truth. But I just showed you that men got they robbed all the things that they got from spoiling the men of war, the Ammonites, the Moabites, and the Edomites. And they got all that to bring that back to what? To their woman, to their household. So they be prosperous. That's how it was. You see, the young man was in what? Not the old man, but the young man was in glorious apparel. Going to war, warlike apparel. That's right. 2 Chronicles 30. And look at verse 20. And the Most High hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. And the children of Israel that were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness. See, he was happy to do this. Great gladness. Happy. So it's a time that we're not supposed to be all sad and out of it. And Levites and the priests praised the Most High day by day, singing with loud instruments unto the Most High. And Hezekiah spake comfortably unto all the Levites that taught the good knowledge of the Most High. And they did eat throughout the feast 7 days, offering peace offerings and making confession to the Most High power of their fathers. And the whole assembly took counsel to keep other 7 days, and they kept other 7 days with gladness. See, 7 days of unleavened bread, but being happy. Gladness, meaning they rejoicing for 7 days. But Hezekiah, king of Judah, did give to the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 7,000 sheep. And the prince gave to the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 10,000 sheep. And a great number of priests sanctified themselves. Man, that's a lot of food. All the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites and all the congregation that came out of Israel and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel and that dwell in Judah rejoiced. Was happy, man. There ain't no sadness. They were rejoicing. So there was great joy in Jerusalem. For since the time of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, there was not the like in Jerusalem. It's having a good time, you know. That's why it's a time to have a good time. It's not, it's a time to have a good time to come together to bring negative. Just one time we come together, so we're gonna bring out people come together. Next thing you know, it's fighting and they arguing. They going through changes. This is days of the Most High's feast. You don't come together on the Most High's feast with that negative. You're supposed to be rejoicing much as you can, to the best of your ability. You know what I mean? Try to avoid it. You know what I'm saying? Not allow that to, be the focal point of what you're coming there for. That's wrong. Because it's the Most High's feast day. He gave us his feast days in Leviticus 23rd chapter now. Go to Ezra, the 3rd chapter. And a time where we were able to come together and our altar was rebuilt. Speaking of the Holy Convocation, look at Ezra 3:1. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Came to Jerusalem. Then stood up Jehoah, the son of Zodadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the Most High Power of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of Most High. And he set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Most High, even burnt offerings morning and evening. From the morning to evening they were offering burnt offerings. They kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number according to the custom, as the duty of every day required. So they're keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. And afterward offered the continual burnt offering, both of the new moons, so it's honoring the new moon, the first day of the month, and of all the set feasts of the Most High that were consecrated, and of every one that willingly offered a free will offering unto the Most High. From the first day of the 7th month began they to offer burnt offerings unto the Most High. That's the Feast of Blowing of the Trumpets. But the foundation of the temple of the Most High was not yet laid. So this is the first day of the 7th month, is the Feast of Blowing of the Trumpets, and it's the new moon. They gave money also unto the masons. So they did give money. A lot of y'all be talking about you're supposed to give no money. They gave money also to the masons, the ones that are going to lay the bricks, and to the carpenters, the ones that's going to do the woodwork, the carpenters. And meat, they gave meat and drink and oil unto them of Zidon, and to them of Tyre, to bring cedar trees from Lebanon. It wasn't free. To bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea of Joppa, according to the grant that they had of Cyrus, king of Persia. So they go and build your temple to the Most High. See? And they was glad to do this. They was happy to do this. Wasn't no, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, I want to do that. Look at verse 10. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Most High, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Most High, after the orders of David, king of Israel, singing songs of praise to the Most High. And they sang together, they sang together by course in praising and giving thanks unto the Most High, because he is good. For his mercy endureth forever toward Israel, toward us, people. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Most High, because the foundation of the house of the Most High was laid. But many of the priests and the Levites and chief of the fathers, who were ancient men, older men, that had seen the first house, they have seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice, and many shouted aloud for joy. See, it was crying with a joyous cry though, because it's built. And they seen the first one being torn down. Who did it? You want to know who did it? Let's find out. Go to 1 Ezra 4. 45. This is what they building. It says, thou hast also vowed to build. This is the man I was just talking about women. And he said truth. He said truth in women is the greatest thing in the world. But truth outnumbers everything. Truth is the greatest, right? So he won. This is what he told the man, the king. He said, thou also have vowed to build up the temple, what we just reading about, which the Edomites, Caucasians, burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldeans. When Judea was made desolate by the Chaldeans, but the Edomites burned down the temple that they rebuilding that we just read about here. That's why the ancient man was crying for joy, a joyous cry though, because they seen this happen. They knew when we went to captivity on the Babylonians. They knew. So going back to Ezra 3, and just showing you how the Apocrypha goes right along with the regular Bible. It's the same Ezra. It's just spelled in the Greek different. Ezra 3 and 12. But many of the priests and Levites and chief of the fathers, who were ancient men, that had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice. And many shouted aloud for joy. Was happy to see our temple being built again, so that the people could not discern the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard afar off. They didn't know what was going on. Can you imagine the nations, man? We was so loud, we real loud. Get together and drinking and having a good time and be real loud. The noise was heard afar off. They could hear us from a distance, having a good time, rejoicing, because the temple was built. No different than when the happened to us during the Greek Empire. Go to 1 Maccabees. During the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, this wicked Edomite. 1 Maccabees 1 and 9. And after his death, after Alexander the Greek death, first emperor of the Greek Empire that took down the Persian and Mede Empire, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. They became, kings, powers and authority. So did their sons after them. So their sons put crowns on their heads after them. Many years. And what? And evils were multiplied in the earth. See? When the Greeks came into power, it says evils were multiplied in the earth. See? And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, who we're going to read about, surnamed Epiphanes. Okay? Son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Can't get no clearer than that. That's why everybody needs Apocrypha. Because when you look at Malachi, you're in the Persian and Mede Empire. After the Persian and Mede Empire came the Greek Empire. So when you get to Matthew, you're in the Roman Empire. So what happened to the Greek Empire? Here it is right here in 1 Maccabees, 2 Maccabees, in the Apocrypha. You need to have this. You want to know the whole truth. Then Protestants took some of this out. You say evils were multiplied in the earth. So it's and he reigned, Antiochus Epiphanes, in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Right? So let's go over here to verse 41. Pertaining to our temple at this time. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. What that sound like? New World Order. And everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. We just read. All the gods of the nations are what? Idols. So what they lose? They ain't got nothing to lose. They don't have the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So yeah, all the heathen gonna agree to what the king is saying. Verse 43, yeah. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. See? Sacrificing the idols. What they do, they follow the gods of the heathens, like they do today in these different religions. They profane the Sabbath day, the seventh day of the week, the Most High's day. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid the burnt offerings, what we read about they were doing, and sacrifices that they were doing, and drink offerings that they were doing in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, the days that the Most High gave us, the holy days that he gave us. Profane them. Keep that word in mind. Profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh. Sacrifice pigs on the altar. And unclean beasts. This what did you think they ain't got to pay for this? Yes. They sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also lead their children uncircumcised. So we circumcised the boys on the 8th day, and the circumcision of understanding this truth. The word of the Most High is law, statutes, commandments too. And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Profanation. To the end they might forget the law. That's what we at now. That's why it's so hard for our people to come back to following the Most High's law, his laws. Because this is what happened to us. During the Greek Empire, and the same people had the same babies, taught them the same thing. They had the same babies, taught them the same things all the way down the line to say, we already programmed. Give us anything. What he said? Verse 41, moreover, the king of Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And that's how our people feel. But they ain't nobody one with us. But we want to be one with everybody else. This dumbness, dumb and dumber. Dang. When we the chosen people of the Most High. Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Ugh. You know, they was having orgies and everything up in the temple. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. See? They might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So that's our temple destroyed right there. Straight up. So when you look at, we went to war to get our temple back. So let's go to 1 Maccabees 4. You can read the whole chapter if you want. We're going to look at verse 52. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, which would be the 12th month of Esau, 25th day of the month, you know, they call that Christmas. In the 148th year, they rose up betimes quickly in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. So let's get rid of that old altar, because it was defiled. We just read how he defiled it, but they renewed it. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, on the 25th day of the 12th month in our time. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns, harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the Most High of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. Because we got the victory over the enemy Well, defiled, I mean, come on, sacrificing swine's flesh. The Most High said we ain't supposed to touch a dead pig carcass. That's more than you going to sacrifice nasty pig. Can you imagine the smell in that place? Yuck. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields. And the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness. Hear that? Very great gladness. No sadness, but very great gladness among the people. For that the reproach, the disgrace of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days. From the 25th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness. Now we don't go by the Julian calendar. We go by the moon, the new moon, to determine when the 25th of this 12th month is, or the month Caslu. Sometimes it falls on December the 25th, but it's not necessarily going by that particular calendar that we go by, for our days of the year and months here. And at that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before. So we say you got to build up high walls for our protection, lest the Gentiles will come and tread it down like they did before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsheba to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. Who was Idumea? Edom, Rome. The Romans were who? Caucasians. So-called Italian Caucasians. So we had to build up our walls against Idumea. But see, we were glad to get our temple back. And we determined, it's not because a lot of people, they even have a problem with us keeping the Feast of Dedication, as this is here. You see, that we did. And ordaining that we would do this in remembrance of us getting our temple back from the heathen, as they had defiled it. 1 Maccabees 5:1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built, and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much, because we're going to be able to go in there and cry to our power, the Most High power, Yahweh. It displeased them much. Wherefore they sought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. Now we got the altar back. What is so wrong with us having a place to go worship our power? But wherever we were at, those people that was around us, them heathens wanted to kill us. Hear what it said? Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. We scattered among all these nations. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. They began to kill us. Why? Verse 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built, say nations of Gentiles, anyone outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. These people are not with us. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. And Judas Maccabees, fought against the children of Esau in Idumea. Hear that? At Arabah, Batan. That's the so-called Caucasians, man. Because they besieged Israel. And he gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils, took everything that they had. Once he killed them, so we just read how it took 3 days to get all the spoils from the Ammonites, the Moabites. It's a different war though. It's a different time period. So that's the Feast of Dedication. So all you that call yourself believing in Mashiach, House Shy, go to St. John the 10th chapter. Since y'all say we don't have to do it, you're not doing it. Let's see if you're going to follow. You say you believe in him. St. John 10:22. Let's see what it says. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication. And it was winter. See? It was winter. Cold. And the Mashiach walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him. What is this? At the feast of dedication, what we just read about. Then came the Jews round about him and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Mashiach, if you be Hamashiach, the anointed, the Messiah, tell us plainly. Mashiach answered them, I told you. So I told you, I done told you. And you believe me not. Say you ain't believe me. Say you believe not. You ain't believe me. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. Say the works that I'm doing in my Father's name, not his own name, but in the Most High's name. So they bear witness of him. But you believe not, because ye are not of my sheep. As I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. It says sheep hear his voice, and they know him, and they follow him. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. See, his sheep, they know him, and they're going to follow him. And you ain't nobody going to be able to pluck them out of his hand. And I give unto them eternal life. His sheep going to follow him. And he give unto his sheep eternal life. And they shall never perish. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all. And no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. So that should make you feel good. Or if you vexed by it, then hey, get ready for the lake of fire. So you gotta, he said in St. John 14 and 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. Right, the commandments. 1 John 2 and 3. Because I like to go here because a lot of times people will be saying, oh, that's the Old Testament, but here the New Testament is saying the same thing. 1 John 2 and 3. I'll leave you with this. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. That's how you show you know him. You keep his commandments. He that says, I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whosoever keepeth his word, in him verily, truly is the love of the Most High perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. See, Revelations 14. And those that are doing this, continue to do it, endure unto the end. Revelation 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of the Mashiach Yahushua. Keeping the commandments of the Most High and faith in the Mashiach Yahushua. Going to the Most High on our behalf. Last book, Revelation 22. Last book of the Bible, Revelation 22 and 14. Blessed, we want to be blessed, are they that do his commandments. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, live forever, and may enter in through the gates into the city. That's who's going to enter into the gates of the city. That's already prepared for us. And when you do that, Deuteronomy 28, 1 and 2. You can't rejoice over this. Something wrong with you. You should feel happy to know this. And to look at what's prepared, already prepared for us. You say, I'll go prepare a place for you. It's already prepared. Just waiting on Jacob to wake up completely and gather the 1/3 and gather the 144,000 of each of the tribes of Israel, 12,000 of each of the tribes of Israel. Get ready for the kingdom's prepared for us already. Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass, if, that's a condition, thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, as we just read in the last book of the Bible, which I command thee this day, that the Most High thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So that's what we're doing. Repenting and coming back to the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, and all these blessings. That's why I say, blessed is he that doeth his commandments. All these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if, that's condition, thou shalt hearken, listen unto the voice of the Most High thy power. So once we do that, and we're doing it, big movement for this. Keeping the laws of the Most High, his rules and regulations. Daniel 7:18. You'll be happy for this. Daniel 7:18. But the saints of the Most High, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, Psalms 148:14, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. We got next. How long? Forever, even forever and ever. Verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. That don't make you happy? You gonna be sad for that? And you an Israelite? Say, hey, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. That's why they asked him after he died and rose on the third day, walked the earth for 40 days. They asked him this question. Acts 1:6. When they therefore would come together, they asked of him, saying, Mashiach Yahushai, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So they knew. That's why I'm telling you, as a messenger of the Most High. In Daniel 7:27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. That's why they asked, you going to restore the kingdom to Israel? Because they know that the kingdom is coming to the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. That means it's going to last forever and ever and ever, people. Yeah, I can feel good about that. Shoot. That's the future. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. That's all I got to say. Everybody going to serve and obey him. So either you're getting ready now, you're going to bow down now, you're going to bow down later, but you're going to bow down. Because he just said everybody going to serve him. Or you don't want to, you're going to perish. That's Isaiah 60:12 all day long. So hitherto is the end of the matter. So if you like to reach me, you can reach me, Priest Awam, at P.O. Box 20012, Long Beach, California, 90801-3012. Or you can call me at 562-235-1226. Or if you like to, you feel in your spirit to give a donation, you can go to www.paypal.me/shieldofwisdom, SHIELDOFWISDOM. So with that, I say shalom, and I'm out.